Okay, in my last video I showed how I mounted my new Harbor Freight manual tire changer to the floor. So if you'd like some pointers on that, you can refer to my last video. But today I've got 4 new tires that I'm going to mount for my Saab summer tires. And this will be my first attempt at using this Harbor Freight manual tire changer. I won't record the whole thing, but some highlights and some tips that can help you to effectively do the same thing. So here we go. So here's my 4 summer wheels for my Saab 9.3, and there's the 4 new tires. Now these are 50s, so they're a bit of a low profile. Not super low profile, but the lower the profile, the stiffer the sidewalls, and it can be the more difficulty in mounting them. So we'll see how it goes. Now the first step is go ahead and remove all the valve cores. And this is important because when you go to break the tires down, you don't want any air in there that will resist breaking down the tires. And also when you go to refill it, you want maximum airflow into the valve to help you to seat the new tires. Also go ahead and remove all your old tire weights. You don't want those to interfere with your breaking them down and remounting. This is where you've got to lay the wheel to break the bead, and you've got this triangle, and also I've got my bolt there, which is extra tall. So I've got to cover these to protect the rim from getting any damage when I break down the bead. So I've laid this heavy-duty material here for protecting the rim. We'll see how that works. Now you'll want to experiment with which of these 3 holes gives you the best angle for breaking down the bead. I found that this furthest one out here looks like it'll give me the best angle for breaking down these particular tires and wheels. I also poured a little soapy water around here too, because you'll find that this helps as the bead starts to break. It gives it a little lubrication, which will help it to break free from the rim. Now the other thing with this technique, many people will just keep trying to push in the one spot. What you'll find with many tires, even if you're using an actual compressed air bead breaker, you'll find that many tires will resist in the one spot. And what you do is you'll press down and then move it about half the distance of the tool here, and then press down again. And so as you work a spot, gradually you'll end up getting the whole area, help it to break free. But if you just keep pressing in the one spot, it can be very difficult. So you're going to have to work it a little bit along on many tires, because they become very much attached to the rim, and it can take a bit to break them free. So that's just one tip there. Be patient and just keep rotating the wheel about halfway from where you've pressed, and then press again, and you'll find you'll gradually get it to where you can break it down. There we go, there's one side. So you're going to have to keep working that around, especially on the back side, because the drop center is tapered, so you've got to get it down a bit. But just be patient, work your way around, and use a little lubricant on there, and you'll get it. Now, mounting it on the machine ideally would be nice if the machine came with a metal cone that you could just, a tapered cone just to drop down in there. What I did to, because you've got this hole down, you see how quickly that it would mar up this wheel. So people on YouTube have came up with various schemes. What I did, I've got an old bias ply, piece of a bias ply tire from an old 65 Mustang actually. Used my hole saw, cut out a hole there, and then we can do that. Use that to hold it securely and protect the rim. And then we'll snug this up with the bar to make sure it's nice and secure, and we'll get to work. Put a little more lube on there. I'm going to put a little grease on my tool. The slippier the better, and the less chance of damaging the tire, although these tires are old. But what you want to do, the secret is always getting below the bead into the drop center on the one side as you get your bar onto the other side. Get your bead down. And we do the same thing. There it is. Yeah, there's one dismounted. And I got a little red paint from the tool on there. These are a bit older rims, and they very well could get marred slightly with this process on the edge. There's on YouTube I've seen some videos where they build an attachment that goes across and they use the duckbill to go around it, or they actually, pretty expensive, but they sell no mar tire bars. In fact, I think that's the name of the company, No Mar. Pretty expensive bar, but they will protect your rims if you've got some nice rims and you don't want to damage them at all. Now I'm lubing up this real nice, including this part here, because you're going to want that to slide up nicely to seat when you go to inflate it, and also help with the mounting. Now you always want to make sure, if your tires are directional, make sure of that. Now these aren't, but they do have a red dot, so I'm going to put the red dot up, because you can use this in relation to your valve stem. So I'm going to lube the beads up real nice. Now we see how far you can get the first one. You can usually almost get it on there. Now this is probably the hardest part of the whole operation, getting the last bead on. But again, you want to take advantage of the drop center on both sides. And that's why I've got this angle here. Okay, I'm having trouble. It wants to just walk around. Now in my video hand mounting the key to hand mounting car tires, now those were steel rims I was doing, and I'd use a setup like this with the clamp, and to keep the bead from walking around as I work it. And then just using the smaller tire iron, gradually work your way around. And the key then is keeping this bead in the drop center, and that's what gives you the room to work your way around and get this in. Now the only thing with these alloy wheels, this may not stay on here as well as it did on the steel rim, so we're going to have to wait and see. That doesn't work. They do sell various tools there's a thing called the yellow thing, I think, by Nomar, which will do the same idea as this. You can grip it on the bead seat on the rim. And then there's also a black Nomar plastic kind of thing that looks similar to this. It doesn't clamp in, it just kind of hooks in. I've used those in the past at the shop. They can tend to pop out though, depending on the style of rim, but it can be an aid to keep, because the key is keeping this bead down below the drop center as you work your way around. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to try to work my way around by hand like I did in the other video, and hopefully this C-clamp will hold. Again, the key as you work your way around is to keep this tire bead below the drop center, which I'm doing both by my knee and by my hand pressure. So far the C-clamp is holding, but I don't know that it will complete this process. Looks like my C-clamp's about to pop off. A lot of pressure on it. I don't think we're going to make it. Well, we made it. Barely hung on there. Yeah. Well, the valve stem was leaking. I should have changed it to begin with. You don't know how old the valve stems are. Just good insurance. The rubber dries out. It's good to just go ahead and change them. Okay, I've got the first one mounted. Here's my verdict on trying out this machine for the first time. I think on just the old style steel wheels with a high profile tire, it would work okay. But if you're going to work with any lower profile and alloy wheels, this bar that comes with the unit is completely inadequate. The head wants to rotate, and it just doesn't work well, and it's easy to mar the rim. Now this wheel had a few curb scuffs from before, but I may have added a small chip or two in working to mount this, so that's another issue. Now, so I really recommend, if you're going to do any amount of these wheels at all, and you're concerned about marring the wheels, there's a no-mar bar, which is pretty expensive. I forget offhand, but it's well over $100, so quite a bit more than just this whole machine. But it does work. It works well. I've seen others on YouTube use it. And then they also sell, I think it's called the yellow thing, which will keep your wheel from your tire from rotating on you when you're trying to get that bead mounted. And you really need something like that. I got away with the clamp on this first one, but it wants to slip off. But I did get it on, and I did it by hand, just using the 24-inch bar, working my way around, rather than using this big bar to get that final, upper bead on, which is the most difficult one. So, and also the bead breaking part of it, I think, is adequate. It worked pretty good. If you have some older, tougher ones that where the tire is rusted to the rim, it may take a bit more work and patience to get it off. But on these, it worked fine. So that's it for this video. I hope a few of the things that I ran into will help you. My next video, I'll be balancing. I've got a bubble balancer, which I've used before, and I'm going to use it on these Saab wheels. So stay tuned.